Welcome to Highway Herald, your roadmap to the latest in auto. Let's dive into a topic that's been on everyone's lips lately: electric vehicles, EVs. You've probably heard the term zero-emission vehicle thrown around a lot, but are EVs really the green saviors they're made out to be? Let's debunk some myths and give you 6 reasons why EVs might not be as eco-friendly as you think. Starting with reason number 6, the CO2 conundrum. Electric vehicle advocates often tout their zero CO2 emissions. But let's shift gears and consider other pollutants. EVs require batteries, which are made from rare earth elements like lithium, cobalt, and graphite. These elements are mined, extracted, and transported, often through aggressive methods. Take lithium, for example. Studies show that for every ton of lithium mined, 75 tons of acid waste are produced. Additionally, each metric ton of lithium mined requires 500,000 gallons of water. The toxins from mining can easily contaminate surrounding water and soil. Consider how this waste is managed in developing countries, where mining companies often cut corners to save costs. The images of these mines resemble Martian landscapes, with the surrounding area left devastated. The fallout? Biodiversity loss, air contamination, water depletion. Plus, these deposits often contain radioactive substances that can spread through dust and water. So, while EVs may not emit CO2, they're not as green as they appear. Are we still convinced that CO2 is the only pollutant worth measuring? Moving on to reason number 5, the manufacturing maze. Even if we set aside the issue of rare earth materials and focus solely on CO2, the picture isn't as rosy as some would have you believe. Just like traditional internal combustion engine, ICE cars, EVs require energy for their production. So, those tales of a minimal carbon footprint? Not quite accurate. Consider the massive machines used to mine rare earth elements. Do you think they run on batteries or some sustainable energy source? Nope. They're powered by fossil fuels, and they consume a lot of it. Then there's the transportation of materials, and finally, the production process itself. Producing EVs, especially their battery components, requires a significant amount of energy. With the demand for EVs skyrocketing, the result is a substantial carbon footprint. In fact, before they even leave the factory, electric cars have already caused more environmental damage than conventional ICE cars. Some research suggests that a typical gasoline car would need to clock in around 100,000 miles just to match an EV's initial carbon footprint. Before we shift gears and move on to reason 4, if you're new to Highway Herald, please don't forget to subscribe. Your support fuels our passion for creating content like this. Now let's continue our journey into the world of EVs. Reason number 4, the power behind the plug. Electric vehicles initially leave a larger carbon footprint, meaning gas-powered cars would need to cover thousands of miles just to equalize. In reality, the mileage is even higher. Why? Because EVs still require daily power to charge batteries. This power comes from various sources, and unfortunately, most aren't clean. Experts state that only 39% of the world's energy is clean, derived from wind, sun, or nuclear power plants. The remaining 61% comes from carbon-emitting power plants, leading to the paradox that most energy stored in batteries originates from coal. Consequently, it's clear that EVs do emit carbon dioxide. On average, experts estimate around 100 grams per mile driven. That equates to about 11 tons per 100,000 miles driven. For comparison, an average gas-powered car would emit around 35 tons. In summary, while EVs emit less, they're far from being zero-emission vehicles. As the EV market grows and more vehicles are plugged in, they'll need more power. Whether this power will come from sustainable sources, or we'll see an increased reliance on coal and other fossil fuels, is hard to predict. We're likely years, if not decades, away from sourcing most of that power from sustainable sources. Moving on to reason number 3, the hidden pollutants, tires and brakes. You might not have considered this, but exhaust emissions aren't the only pollutants. Tires and brakes also contribute to emissions, and this will continue whether you switch to an electric vehicle or stick with a gas one. Tires naturally wear down over time and need replacement. As tires roll, tiny particles are released due to friction. According to many experts, these small particles pose a greater threat to our health than exhaust emissions, with some claiming they're up to 1,000 times more harmful. Many of these particles are carcinogens, such as dibenzopyrenes, which are harmful to our lungs and can also negatively impact aquatic life. The same is true for brakes. Applying brakes wears down pads and discs, releasing particles. The Air Quality Expert Group states that these brake emissions account for 20% of total traffic pollution. And here's the kicker. Electric cars with their large batteries housed under the floor are significantly heavier than internal combustion cars. This means that tires tend to wear down much quicker, so it turns out that electric cars pollute more than ICE cars when it comes to these specific particles. This also means that EVs would use a higher number of tires during their lifespan, which contributes to CO2 emissions due to increased tire production. As for brakes, the additional weight issue is offset by the one-pedal driving function, though we'll need more research to get a clear picture of the actual benefits of this advanced system. Reason number 2, the battery burden. Let's shift gears and talk about batteries, arguably the most contentious part of electric vehicles. As we've discussed, batteries are primarily made from rare earth materials, predominantly lithium. The issue with these elements is twofold. Not only is their mining and extraction problematic, but so is their disposal. Take lithium-ion batteries, the most common type used in electric vehicles. These batteries pose a significant environmental threat, from toxic emissions and excess waste to potential water contamination. Despite much talk about battery recycling, the reality is that little has been achieved. Estimates suggest that recycling rates are a mere 5% in the United States, compared to 99% for lead-acid batteries. We've heard numerous suggestions for recycling these batteries. Some propose refurbishing, others suggest repurposing as portable vehicle chargers. Batteries also contain a wealth of precious metals and other elements that could be recovered. However, even this approach would require large amounts of water and lead to additional air pollutant emissions. In the meantime, most batteries are treated like common trash, which has a devastating impact on the environment. And finally, reason number 1, the other polluters. As you can see, electric cars are far from being zero-emission vehicles. Even if they become more eco-friendly in the future, this won't solve the global warming issue. That's because passenger cars are far from being the world's biggest polluters. When it comes to CO2 emissions, total transportation, including cars, buses, planes, ships, and trains, accounts for around 15%. Some estimates suggest that passenger cars contribute just 7% of total carbon emissions. There are far more problematic sectors. Electricity and heat production, still largely reliant on coal, natural gas, and oil, account for 23% of global CO2 emissions. Industry also has a 23% share, while agriculture, forestry, and other land use account for around 22% of total CO2 emissions. Somehow, ICE cars have been singled out as the biggest problem, and it seems that governments worldwide aren't paying enough attention to other problematic sectors. Currently, all eyes are on the automotive industry, and customers are expected to bear the brunt of the cost, paying significantly higher prices for electric vehicles than they would for ICE cars. That's simply not fair. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of electric vehicles. Don't forget to subscribe to Highway Herald to stay up to date with the latest vehicle updates and upcoming videos. See you next time.